FreeSalonEducation.com invites you to join us every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for live and interactive classes from your favorite free salon education educators. So grab a mannequin, get set up, and make sure to share your results using the hashtag FreeSalonEducation. FSE Live starts now.
Hey guys, this is Matt Beck from FreeSalonEducation.com, and there's a, it's on the YouTube thing, I think. Let me turn up my mic a little bit. Extreme close-up. What's up guys, welcome to FSE Live. We're going to be doing some haircutting tonight. My name is Matt Beck from FreeSalonEducation.com, obviously. We're going to be cutting a modern looking shag, but really my goal with tonight is to go through elevation, body position, hand position, all of those things worked into a haircut that makes it a salon-friendly haircut for you, but also it is, going to work on the fundamentals as well. So we're going to start off, I pre-section the mannequin just to save a little bit of time, and you guys know most of the time how to make partings. So I want to go through the sectioning first. We have this time an overhead camera, so hopefully this will help you guys out. So we worked that out. You guys asked for it, and we tried to deliver. So we have the section at the parietal ridge, so everything across here coming back to a point in the back of the head. This is low crown, so you have mid crown here, high crown, apex. So we're right at below the mid crown. So low crown right there to a point, and then you gotta click on the video. Over. We got it? We got it. Yeah, so we're all right. So maybe we should start. So anyways, we have the mannequin here now. So let's talk about the sectioning, and well, we have to put the camera. Yes. No, I got it. So parietal ridge over, so then we can see here. So parietal ridge over, back to low crown, just below here, and then back up through the parietal ridge area. Then we're going to go down center back here. And then I like to section this into two parts because we could over direct everything over, but I'm going to explain why it's not always a good idea to always over direct everything extremely across the head. So we break up the two sections right in the temple area, and then we have the top. So we're going to start off in the temple area working the sectioning and the haircut. So this mannequin's been sitting here for a little while. We have a lot of hot lights on it, so it's probably half dry at this point. So I'm going to turn the head, let this out, just saturate the hair a little bit, and we're going to start working in the temple area. The reason I like to do that is I want to start working on the face frame. I'm not really worried about the length in the back because this is going to be more of a shag feel to the haircut. It can get as long as it wants in the back, and we'll clean it up later. So we're just going to start off, we're going to comb this out. I'm going to grab my scissors here. Where did I put them? I don't even know where they are. Oh, they're right there. So, combing the hair down. What I'm going to do is work diagonal forward because we're going to be working on a higher elevation. Now, the key thing here is to make sure, a lot of times when we want to cut a face frame or more of a shag look, a lot of people will just take the hair and bring it forward like this and just start cutting it, mostly working with their finger angle, not realizing that the elevation is really what changes this whole entire haircut. Because if you cut everything down here, working on your finger angle just to get the kind of scooped feel to the layering, what's happening is because your elevation is so low in the haircut, it builds up a lot of weight. So we end up with a really heavy haircut, and then we have to go in later and take all the weight out. So what I'm going to do is start on the side of the head. I'm going to be working on top of my fingers with diagonal forward sectioning, combing it straight out parallel from the parting. So let me just turn just a little bit more. There we go. So working You'll see me flipping my comb a little bit. I like to work the little hairs out of the base of the scalp with the tight teeth of the comb and then go through. I'm not trying to work with too much tension in this haircut because it is a shag. I'm not trying to create, trying to stretch the hair too much. I want it to have a lot of freedom to it. So we're going to elevate it straight up parallel to the section. You're going to choose your length and determine that. If you want, you could hold a piece down here and see. We're just going to eyeball it because I can see based on my eye where that's going to fall there. So elevation is up, parallel to the head, and I'm going to work. I'll try to adjust. Can we see that, Chris? Is that better? So just working that line in the hair there. Now I'm going to take another diagonal forward section out of that temple area. Really combing those loose hairs at the scalp. Now this is a stationary guide at this point because I'm not working off of a different part of the head. So we're working off one round. And the way that I look at the head as I'm cutting the hair is when I made this section, as I start to see the head peeling away, that's where I take my parting and I section all this hair off. So if I were to over direct the hair from behind that section, so if I were to take this hair and bring it past that corner and then all the way up here, we're actually passing two corners of the head. So this hair is going to fall a lot heavier than this hair is because of the amount of corners. So if you look at when you're cutting hair, you're working with a three-dimensional shape. So you can't just focus on what my finger angle is here. You also have to realize that the head shape is here. So let me take a section and you can see. So not only am I worried about the elevation here vertically, I'm also worried about the elevation this way. Because if I over direct it this way, the hair is going to fall back towards me and away from the head. So if I grab hair from all the way back here, wrap it all the way around the head and up to this point, this hair is going to fall slightly dramatic through the back, but then once it rounds that other corner, it's going to fall a lot flatter. So my goal is to have a nice light, airy feel, especially when we're cutting a nice layered haircut, instead of just whipping the hair all the way around the head and having it be too heavy in the back. So we're going to continue in that temple section, temple panel there. Combing the hair up, getting the hair off the base, working on that same elevation. We'll recomb. And I slightly elevate my hand a little bit more when I make that second comb. Because if you look at it here, again, because this is starting to get a little bit further back on the head, the angle is changing. So in order for me to not create too much weight buildup, I need to make sure I shift my hand just slightly. So we go up, and then when I make my second comb, I just shift it up a little bit more and remove a little extra weight there. Another section. Combing it up. And when you break apart, or when you break up the head into many sections, it allows you to not have to worry so much about your elevation. You can stay pretty confident that the elevation is going to be the same throughout the whole section.
With this cut too, you make it look so flawless, but your cutting section, your section they're cutting is completely parallel to the section they're sectioning it from. You make it just look so easy. That's one of the hardest tricks about this haircut, to get that super clean line.
Yeah, I think that's it's really all about extra combing. A lot of people, it's cool to invest a lot of money in scissors to get a great straight line and all of that, but really the combing is the most important part. So what that's doing is just giving us that layering. It's giving us the pieces around the face, and we can work on that perimeter later, but I really just wanted to get those layers in there and lighten it up first. So then, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work into the back panel. Now the big difference here is we're going to be working slightly concave. So let me turn around here. Hopefully you guys can see, and maybe Thad can get in on that one. Can you see my top of my head, my nice little bald spot up there? No? You're not zooming in on that, Thad? Thanks. Appreciate it. So now what I'm going to be doing is I still want to continue that round shape on the haircut. So instead of now pulling everything up and over the head, what I'm going to do is start working a concave right at this point behind the ear, using a guide from what I had previously cut. So we're going to continue that concave. I'm going to be pulling everything towards myself. Again, still a stationary guide, but starting in that second corner. So before we were pulling it all the way here, now we've built up that guideline, and I'm going to bring everything just to that point so that I'm not pushing too much weight. I want some layering through the back, and I want to be able to lighten it up through there. So,
Matt, we just had a question.
Yeah.
I forget what it was exactly. It was, how do you know how to match up the other side?
Well, we're going to go all the way through it.
So, all right, so
Yeah.
we'll get there. Gotcha.
So now I'm standing in front of the head, pulling the hair up towards me, straight over top of that first, or that corner that we were working on. And we're going to pull our guide from the previously cut hair. So there we go. I need to go a little bit further. And it's important, if you want this to really connect the way that you're looking for, then it's important to make sure you find that piece of hair throughout there that you were cutting, and don't just cut it wherever you feel like. So another section, another parting. Again, over directing it up towards me. And working concave through there. Now, because we're working condensed cutting, or we're working with a stationary guide, and she has a lower density of hair, I can take a little extra hair through these sections. Plus, because of the length of the mannequin, there's not a ton coming off at this point, so I can really see that line through it. So it's just, key thing here is just making sure that you know exactly where you're elevating that hair to, or where you're over directing the hair to, and keeping it consistent there. All right, so that is that side. So now what I'm going to do, there was a question earlier, how do we match up both sides? Easiest way to do that is just, first off, they don't have to be perfectly matched up when you're cutting the hair. I mean, nobody's face is really symmetrical either. But what I'm going to do is just, have a piece, and you're going to look at it. You're going to eyeball it. You're going to make your cut. But the big difference here is I'm going to be cutting on the opposite side of the head, over directing it up for the first part, because I was cutting short to long here, and now what I want to do is cut short to long on the other side. So I wouldn't want to stand on this side and cut down this way, because I want to keep my cutting angles and everything that I'm doing with the scissor consistent. So we're going to take our diagonal forward section, just like we did on the opposite side, over directing it up. And this is where, if you want, you could take a look at the opposite side, and then you're just going to make that cut in there.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
They are asking, our lovely followers that are following along with us right now,
Yeah.
If this was a real client, would you stand in front of her for the whole cut? Like if there was an actual body there and not a mannequin stand?
Yes. Yes, I would be standing not as close to her, but I would definitely be standing in front of her, yes.
Okay.
So again, just working that stationary guide, all on a diagonal forward. And to keep, consistent with the other side, now that I've gotten a little further back, I slightly elevate towards the back of the section, just to remove a little extra weight off of that corner. Bringing the rest of the hair up. And this works great for, just a face frame as well. It doesn't have to be, a shag feel to the haircut. So you could use this technique with a lot of different types of haircuts.
Hey, Matt,
Yeah.
Are you using her nose as a guide to over direct?
I'm not really using her nose. No, we're not over her nose. We're right over, let's say, the eye at this point. We're not going all the way to the center. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So now we're going to spray it down a little water here.
To give reference points too, you gotta check it out first, make sure, but like natural eyebrows, or like properly arched eyebrows usually are pretty even.
Yeah.
Those are also really good.
Yeah, it's better than working with like an ear or, So now, big difference here is I was standing in front of the head on this side. Now I'm standing behind, because anytime we're cutting concave, we're cutting short to long again. And another difference is I'm pushing away from myself, because we always want to be combing towards our guideline. So we're just working that hair forward. Now this is a little bit harder in terms of being comfortable and staying consistent, because as you're pushing that hair forward, your arm never wants to rest forward. So as I'm combing that, I just want to make sure that I stay nice and consistent with where I'm over directing the hair to. Again, parting and over directing just over that center corner right above the ear. Now, to kind of go a little further with the question about would I stand in front of the client the whole time, the big thing is your client's head's going to move a lot more. Like right now, I don't have a guest in my chair that I'm working on, so there's no chair, so I can stand right here and it's not a problem. If I was working on a guest in the salon, what I would probably do is just tilt her head over slightly and bring it over to me this way, so that, I'm staying consistent, and that's the beauty of, working on a real person, is you can move their head around. So it makes it a little bit easier for you, and you're not standing over top of them the whole time. Now we want to stay clean with the parting, so I want to grab that guide and then grab my next parting and comb everything together. Instead of just grabbing that hair from the back and pushing it forward and messing it all up in everything else that I cut, because you're going to end up with 5 different guides if you bring all of this into it. So you want to make sure that, you just grab that guideline and start pushing everything forward. And there's not much to cut at this point. Comb that, just get it out of the way. You could even throw a clip in there if you want, makes you more comfortable. Tiny little bit. All right, so we're going to comb that out. Now we're going to let down the top. We're going to be working with a fringe here, but I'm not going to cut that fringe wet. So what I'm going to do is comb right along the high point of the head, and I'm going to separate the front and the back. What I'm looking for when I start combing this down is different movements within the cowlick area. And that's how I'm going to determine how I want to cut this back portion. The rest of the front here is all going to be cut dry. So what I'm going to do is take this and just twist it up and get it out of the way for now. And we're going to work to the back portion. So now I don't see, obviously with a mannequin, depending on the mannequin, but there's not much going on within the cowlick area. So what I'm going to do is just work in a clock sectioning and really just elevate this to straight above the head. So it'll be a little bit of concave. So we're working straight up. And I'm just going to remove that weight line. And now we're going to work it like a clock. So take that section, take half of what I just cut, and bring that up into my hand. So now we're working with a station or a traveling guide through this part. Take another section, half of the old, comb it all out of the way, and elevate straight up in the air. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Body position is going to stay the same. So I'll cut this in half, directly down center back, and take another clock section there. All right, and the last little bit. So we got some nice layers in there, layering in there. We've removed a lot of the weight and we've softened the shape to kind of create a lot of that movement in there and give this kind of a shaggier feel. What we didn't want to do is have the real kind of uniform layering in there. So just working on your elevation and making sure that you're not over directing everything too far and all of that, that's going to eliminate the fact that you have all those really stacked layers in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to blow dry the mannequin and I'm going to blow dry the front. We're going to smooth it completely out, and then we're going to go in and do a ton of dry cutting to really finalize and personalize the haircut, and we're going to cut the fringe dry as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me grab brush. We're going to start by working a flat wrap motion with the hair and just smoothing it out. That doesn't mean that this has to be a smooth style at the end. It's not going to be. It's going to have a lot of texture, but just flat wrapping it gives it kind of a smooth feel and allows your eye to see kind of how the weight is shifting and moving in the haircut. So we're going to go in with the blow dryer and just start smoothing it out. So I start working the hair forward, and then I work the hair backward. And I'm not leaving any part in the hair whatsoever. So as I work the hair around the head, I'm working with it in its natural fall and just slightly moving it back and forth. we'll do a little bit of leafing through the hair. So I'll take some from the base, and I'm just allowing the air to pass over the cuticle. I'm not working it and moving the blow dryer a lot because I don't want to rough up the cuticle of the hair. And just allowing the air to pass over and smooth out. Again, brushing it back and forth. What that's going to do is give it a very flexible base. So then when we go in and we're going to cut later, we can move the hair all around and it falls really natural. And the more we allow that air to flow over top of the hair, it just gets shinier and shinier as you let it do that, because it's laying the cuticle down and making, and the cuticle is what really produces the shine. So just allow that air to flow over top and let the brush do all the work while you're blow drying it.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be working at a Paul Mitchell salon and wants to know if you have any recommendations for good products to use as a cutting lotion.
From Paul Mitchell, I would say I like Quick Slip, or The Conditioner is a great product as well. Those would be my two big choices. I mean, if their hair is finer and you don't want to put like a heavier product on there, maybe just go with sculpting foam, with a little bit of a serum, just so you don't have that heavy weight in there. But I would say Quick Slip is kind of my go-to, and then because it has a little bit of hold to it for the blow dry later. And The Conditioner is always good, especially if somebody has really thick kind of tangled hair that you're trying to work through. I like that one as well. And I can already see kind of how the round layering flows back. So you can see how the weight starts off. It just gets a little bit heavier towards the back, and then it's the heaviest at the back point. That's what you're really looking for with this haircut, to give it that shag kind of feel. That freezing. Almost. All right, so the fringe is really the most important part, especially because we haven't cut it yet. So as I'm working through the front, we're going to go back and forth, really working the base of the scalp, or the base of the hair, right at the scalp, and making sure that there's no part whatsoever in the hair.
Hey Matt, is that blow dryer really that quiet?
It's actually pretty loud in here. I think the microphone's just that good. Yeah. Because last week on Brian's video, when he started blow drying, I couldn't hear it either. So I don't know. It's loud in here. Yeah, they're not, yeah. Quieter than most, but it's still not quiet.
Kristen Collins commented that she loves the blow dryers, but she hates the fact that the barrel is so long, so it's a little shorter. How do you feel about the longer barrel, the short barrel blow dryer?
The barrel?
What's your view on that?
I mean, this barrel doesn't seem much longer than any other.
Well, she's comparing things like Sandia's blow dryer.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe one of the older Solaros.
Honestly, I say whatever your preference is, that's what you should go with.
Yeah.
I mean,
I personally like the longer barrel, but I use the barrel when I'm doing the blow dry, especially with the longer hair, but hold that for me.
yeah,
You know, you can't really get that with the shorter barrel.
yeah.
You're not blocking your line. I mean, unless that's what your service is. Like, that likes to hold the barrel instead of the handle.
All right, so last little bit here, and then we can turn it this way, actually.
Okay, we got another one.
Okay.
From Lauren Porter. Random. Does anyone know why some folks use organic/animal hair brushes? Think they are better than other materials? Do they make a difference? Any thoughts, folks? I normally have no comment. Well, hello, Lauren.
I'm not a fan of. I've never really been a fan of the like boar. Yeah, the natural ones. That's just personal preference, though. I know there's a lot of people that are. So I think for a dressing brush, I like more of a boar bristle kind of feel to it. But for blow drying and stuff, I just feel like it has a lot of tension. It doesn't. I feel like it just doesn't, for me, flow through the hair as easy as a brush like this when you're working through it. But depending on the type of hair you're working with as well. If you have really coarse hair and you need something with a lot of tension, then I think it's a better option for you. Most of my guests have hair like this, so I don't typically need to have something with a lot of tension.
And usually the natural brushes, you don't have an aluminum body.
Right.
And they can't be ionized at the same time.
Right, so they don't heat up as much either.
Hey Matt, what is your recommendation for clients who won't keep their head still?
That's funny. That's a question that gets asked a lot. You just make them keep their head still, I think. You really have to take control when you're behind the chair. Like it's kind of your time to make them look good and make their hair look good. So if they're moving their head around, you just got to tell them that they got to stop, or their hair's not going to look as good. And I guarantee if you tell them that, then they'll start to pay attention, you know? So, I never really have that much trouble. I mean, I've obviously there's occasionally somebody, I have a guest who's on her cell phone the entire time. I cut around it and I let her go. And if, you know, that's her choice if she wants to talk on the phone the entire time, you know? So sometimes we just have to, in salon reality, do what we need to do, you know? Yeah. That has a question, everyone. I say, you know, I don't ask them to put their head down and let them do it. I put it there, put it where it needs to be, and then, you know, let it go. And if they kind of come up a little bit, then you put them right back, you know. You need to make those adjustments as you're going through it. So if you guys didn't understand what Thad's question was, it was what happens if you tell them to put their head down, they don't put it down as far as you want them to. This is a good way to, you know, you grab their head and you put it there. And I think that comes with confidence and, you know, just the more years you are behind the chair, the more you're comfortable with just moving them around and putting them where you want them to be. But it's definitely going to make for a more successful visit for your client. So yeah, let me adjust a bit. Is that good? So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm combing the top of the head right at the parietal ridge over, and we're going to go through and smooth this, and I'm going to work on a diagonal back quickly through it. I mean, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but it's really important not to just grab a bunch of hair and start ironing it with your comb, because that's not, you want every piece of hair to be the same and smoothed out so that you see your lines that you cut. If you don't do that, you're not going to see any of the lines that you cut. Then you're going to end up cutting something that you didn't want to in the first place. So this will really, if you get a nice smoothed out head of hair, you're going to really see if you have any inconsistencies that you want to make adjustments to or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I comb out the hair. I hold it in my hands just like I was going to cut it with a lot of tension. And then I put the iron in. This is my new fun tool from Mercado, the Vibra Straight, which I just realized you can turn the vibration off, which is...
If I'd like, I think I broke it. It's not working anymore.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Someone is noticing that you're flat ironing with a comb. Why that versus using a round brush when you dried it?
Well, a round brush is not going to... A round brush will make the hair smooth, but it won't. If you're looking to smooth the hair out at a natural fall, you're going to get a much kind of flatter, smoother polish with a flat brush and then the iron. So I'm only doing this as prep for a haircut, not for her to walk out the door. So anytime, I have never, and I'm going to tell you this now, and I don't know if I know the exact actual reason, but I've never been backstage at a hair show watching somebody do a beautiful haircut and round brush to smooth it for the haircutting finish. I mean, I've seen, there's been times where I've seen them round brush a section if they're going to do a certain type of dry cutting to have a little more bevel in it. But I think for the most part, you're going to see everybody going through it with nice fine sections, polishing out the hair and getting it ready to cut it. Then later on, you can go in and add some volume or whatever you want to add into it at the end and the texture. But
plus, I think once they see your finished result here, after you go through and smooth it out,
bigger, yeah.
I mean, you'll see that when Matt goes through and irons this, like I can rock a round brush, but I can't do this with it. So
yeah, this is it's just a different. Right. Yeah, it's too hard to get a round brush nice and tight in there. Now, people can do really nice round brush blow dries. That's not what this is, though. This is for hair cutting. Yeah.
And then if you could just explain the point of using the comb with the straightener.
So I'm parting the hair, right? And then I'm taking my section, I'm combing it out to get the tangles out of the hair, but then I'm not really combing anymore. And the only reason I put the comb back in after I pass with the iron is because it's hot as hell and I don't want to burn myself. But other than that, there's no reason for the comb in there. We'll do a couple passes and then you're good. So I'm working on a diagonal back because I don't want to create creases in the hair. And then I'm taking my section, nice and small section, a lot of tension with my fingers. And then when I go to put the iron in it, so I don't have to stretch so much, when I go to put the iron in it, as soon as that iron hits the hair, I'm following the round of the head with my hand. So this is following the shape of the head down, so you can see that little slight bevel to the hair. It's not perfectly straight. If you make it perfectly straight, that's kind of defeating the purpose of seeing the weight shift and the shape of the haircut. So you can see how that falls. It's all falling seamlessly together, and that's what smoothing the hair for cutting is all about. So I'll grab another section and we'll just work through a lot of tension, diagonal back. And you'll notice too, I'm really just focused on the ends. I'm not really touching the scalp much because I already did all that work with the blow dry. So really my big focus throughout this whole thing is just the ends of the hair. Hey Justin, you want to come up here real quick? I'll just have you so I can get through this quick. Can you stand over there? And I thought you were taking your shirt off. No, that's okay. Here. Thad just chanted that. All there is boys here for the most part.
Excuse me. Matt, this is off topic,
Okay.
but Kevin would like to know what brand jacket you have on.
This is Diesel.
And
it's
is
a
this,
Diesel.
Matt, is this mannequin available on the website?
This, there is a blonde, I think it's Irene. This exact mannequin is not. This one I found in the basement. There is one like it, yeah. Yeah. I was going to say Irene, but I'm not sure. She's blonde, yeah. Yeah. The ones on our website are really good mannequins. So they're pivot point mannequins. They're all the better quality ones. So I didn't put the cheaper ones on there because I just feel like if you're going to get one, I would rather you get the better one. So yeah. All right. So let's go to this side. So we're just going to work on our way back. If you guys have any questions, keep asking them. There's not much else to say at this point.
Someone would like to know what the minimum starting point with shears. I'm guessing for the price on our website.
Well, like the scissors I was using today are the DB20. Those are not the minimum, but they're normally an $800 scissor, but we have them on our site with the 20% discount is $640. Lowest price scissor on the website would probably be the Blacksmith Fit, which is about with your, I think there's a 10% discount on that, which would make it about $405, I believe. So that would be like a base model scissor, but it's an awesome scissor. I have it right there and I use it. a lot as well. So not that one, but that's a base model as well. Biggest difference, like the DB20 has the ball bearing screw in it, so it's a smoother shut to the scissor, and it also is the powder metal, the nano powder metal steel, which is basically just smaller molecules of metal that are consistent shape with cheaper scissors. And it's not a bad thing, but when you look at what cobalt is made of made of a few different types of metal, so the shape of each cut of metal is a different shape. So if you actually looked at a scissor under a microscope, you're going to see that there's gaps in it. So the blade's going to be a little bit rougher, and it's not going to be as consistent with the hardness of the blade. So that's why I like the nano powder metal, and that's why it's a little bit more expensive, but it's worth it in the end. You're going to have it forever. So what are you laughing about? Yeah.
They're referring to you as the human clippy.
Yes.
Hey Matt, do you want to hit on the point of the vibrating of the iron again?
Yeah, so the vibrating of the iron, it's kind of like how I'm taking the comb and putting it through the hair right now. It separates the hair and allows you to smooth it out better. The point of this iron and why it vibrates, so you can turn on the vibration. You can hear it, maybe. So as I go to iron the hair, it vibrates and moves the hair as it's ironing down. Sometimes I like it on there, but I really I like the iron by itself, so I don't really use the vibrating function that often. All right, we're almost there, Justin. See the finish line. Yep. Then we put you away. So you can see through there how much tension is actually on the hair. And I start not at the scalp, because if I go to the scalp, it's going to pinch all that hair together anyways and create a crease. So I just start about the mid shaft and work my way down. And again, just softly beveling the edge and polishing the ends. No, this is good information. Yeah. All right. So we're almost there. Thank you, Justin. See you guys later. Go back to the basement. Everyone's ADD is kicking in right now. All right, so last little bit is the front. All right. Okay. So once I get done smoothing it, because the hair I feel is a little bit kind of stuck together, I just go through and blow dry real quick around it. And I feel like that's, to me, kind of polishes the hair a little bit more, adds a little shine, and separates it.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Dry cutting scissors question. The difference between the acro leaf and the puffins.
So acro leaf is, I think it's really just quality of metal. So the puffin is made of, like, the acro is part of the type Z family. So that's a more expensive metal. I don't think it's the nano powder metal, but it's a cobalt metal. The puffin is also cobalt, but it has a little bit fatter edge to it. So the acro leaf is not quite as wide as the puffin. That's why they call it the puffin. Those are really the only two things that I really know about it. I don't have the acro leaf, so I've never used that one. But we do have the puffin. Thad, do you have yours? It's packed up. Drea, do you have yours?
I can grab them.
Okay. So I'll kind of show you guys what the puffin is all about, but it's just really just a fatter blade, and what the fatter blade does, it wings out and then comes back in. So when the blades come together, it slightly pushes the hair. So instead of coming down and slicing the hair off, you get a little more push to it. So it's a softer cut when you're working with dry hair. So depending on really what you want, it doesn't mean that you have to have a puffin to cut dry hair. Obviously, you guys know that. But sometimes you want a regular scissor to cut dry hair. Like puffin, I don't know, you guys, it's not like a scissor over comb type thing on dry hair. Do you use it for scissor over comb? A little bit? You do? You use it for it too? Okay, okay. So like right in the kind of sweet spot in the middle? Yeah. Well, go to Thad's camera. The Thad cam. Thad, can you zoom in on this a little bit? I'll move so you can zoom in. So
Dad, no one can hear you.
At all?
No, like
No.
at all. It's because you don't have a mic.
Oh, Thad.
Thad.
Yeah. Thad's talking and we can't hear him. So I'm going to break this down real quick. Thad's saying he disputes that you don't need them because he thinks that you do need them.
People are chatting.
Men's cutting, he cuts the top of the head. Right. You guys can't hear him at all, so I know. So so basically he's saying that he uses them for men's cutting, women's cutting. He uses them for pretty much everything, point cutting. Yeah, so it's a great scissor, and what you're going to notice, the difference between a dry cutting scissor and a regular scissor, for those of you that don't normally use them, is so you have your regular scissor here, you have your dry cutting puffin here. Where it gets fatter in the blade is where all the power is. So a typical scissor is going to be weaker at the tip, and that's why a lot of times, like if you get your scissor messed up or something like that, when you go down to cut, you'll have problems with the tip actually cutting the hair because it's the weakest part of the scissor, usually the part that gets damaged first. Most people, like if you look at the Type Z2, which is Mizutani as well, you can see that it gets fatter at the tip, and we've done this video before, so if you guys get a chance, check it out on our YouTube channel. But it gets fatter at the tip, so this is a great scissor for point cutting. So what I usually do is, this one is my main point cutting, and I also like it for scissor over comb because no matter what, when I'm working through the hair, like Justin said, he likes that it has that sweet spot. Well, on a Type Z2, it has a sweet spot right at the tip, but it also has a thick blade here, and then this beveled kind of powerful edge down the center. So this blade is so strong that you can really use it for basically anything. The puffin is great because it has a nice razor sharp, fatter blade, so we can use it for dry cutting as well. So I'm going to show you guys what we're going to do with the fringe. So now I'm going to move to more of a wider tooth comb to work on the fringe area. We'll slide around here. And we really want to open up the face. So what I'm going to do is comb this down to its natural fall.
Someone asked real quick, can you use the puffin for the tease cutting?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do right now, actually.
Look at that.
So we're going to tease cut the fringe in instead of cutting it straight. So we could do a straight across fringe. Why don't I just ask everybody, actually? Do we want to see the fringe straight across? And I'll delay for a second. Or the fringe to be shattered and messier?
We'll find out. Get a quick vote. Matt, what part of the scissor did you say was the weakest in the cutting?
So the weakest part of a scissor is the tip.
Just the tip?
Yeah. Oh, God. Thanks, Brian. All right. So I'm going to work on the sectioning right now because the sectioning will be the same no matter which way we're cutting this haircut. So you guys be on the lookout for which type of fringe that they want. So I'm going to section down. I comb this all in the natural fall. And what I want to do is just take out the edge of the eyebrow. And I'm going to push this hair back. Now, I can clip it away, which I'm going to. I might have to iron it a little bit later. But I really want to get that hair out of the way. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So I'm going to comb it from this high point. We're going to do a nice heavy fringe, no matter what you guys decide.
It looks like it's going to be shattered.
Everyone's saying shattered. We got shattered, but straight, not angled.
Okay. Cool. Good choice. All right, so we're going to take the puffin and use that for this haircut. Is this the right angle, Chris? Well, no, I know. I just moved because I saw that it was on that section, but I just want to make sure. Or should I move this way? Yeah, let's do that one. I think that one's good. All right. So I'm going to go right down the center of the nose. And I'm going to hold the hair out. I think I'm going to shift like this. So everybody can see the elevation. And then they can also see above it when we want to as well. So I'm going to pinch this in my hand. I'm not twisting the hair. Some people like to twist the hair. I think if you twist the hair too much, it starts to over direct it. And it's just not, I think you get a better result without doing that. So I'm going to pinch the hair. Now you're going to see this angle coming off here. If you go to the other camera, Chris, you can see that angle there. This is, so as the head starts to go down, right? This is where people make the biggest mistake with a fringe. As the head starts to go down, the angle changes. So we're at 90 degrees right here, right? So this, what I'm holding right here is actually 0 degrees. A lot of people would say that this is 0. This is below 0. So we want to keep this at about a 0, straight out from the forehead. And that's going to give us our best angle. It's still going to be heavy, but it'll be broken up as well. So now I'm going to pinch the hair, determine where I want that hair to fall, and then I'm going to go in with my scissor right here, pinch it really hard, not let it go, and just work the puffin dry cutting scissor through it. I have a lot of hair in my hand, so I'm just going to keep working through. And the cool thing about a tease cut is it's giving it a whole bunch of different lengths. So that's going to give it that kind of shattered, broken up feel. And we're going to go in, we'll take a little bit more of that out in a second. But what I want to do is just get this line in here. So now I grab another piece of hair, grab another piece as my guide. It's over directed straight out from the head, not into the center. Same thing here. I grab this piece and bring it out here. We do not sell combs anymore. No. We give them away at hair shows, though.
Christina gives everyone a comb on the show.
Yeah.
You get a comb.
All right, so we did some tease cutting. Now, I'm going to let this down, and I want to break it up a little bit more. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through, and this is all based on the density of the hair, but I have my acro leaf wide. This is the texturizing scissor version of the dry cutting scissor. So it has a dry cutting blade on it, and but it's a texturizer as well. So I'm still going to do tease cutting. I'm going to raise the mannequin up just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is come over top of the hair. And clip that top part away, because I don't want to cut into the top part of the fringe, because that's the part that I want to kind of have my line. I want the underneath to be a little bit weaker. So we're going to go in here with our texture scissor and just cut into it slightly and just keep breaking it up. And that's really all based on how much you want it to be broken up. So we're just going to go in, cut into it, just teasing into it.
Now, real quick, I know the shear you have is a little bit wider texture.
Yeah.
People watching, if they have maybe, let's say, something a little more teeth, but more generically, would you recommend using that as well?
Yeah, you could use that. It just, I mean, the more teeth you have, the less dramatic it's going to cut into it. So, but it works, you know, just as good. So I think the biggest thing is just keep taking these sections. Don't try to do the whole fringe at the same time. And you can go in, and you could even come in with your texturizer and just break it up this way as well and take some of those pieces out.
Hey, Matt, what shows are you going to be at in the near future?
Well, I know I'm going to be at ABS. Yeah, I mean, I'm not teaching. I'm going to be at the Millennium booth podcasting. So we'll be, that's kind of so far the plan.
Because there's questions of Orlando, Vegas, and possibly Houston. They want to know if you're going to be...
I will not be in Houston or Vegas, for sure.
Possibly Orlando.
Even if I'm in Orlando, I'm podcasting as well. So we don't have any classrooms really set up yet. So you'll have to be on the lookout for that. All right, so I want to kind of show you where we're at so far. Chris, you want to show?
Can you do like a wiggly close-up to show about how much you're opening and closing as you are tease cutting?
Yes. Where should I close up? Here? Or should I go to Thad? Here we go. Right here. So let's see if we can focus in here. So basically what it is I'm actually, with this scissor, I'm closing all the way. So I guess I don't need to do that. With the texturizer, with the puffin, we're going in and closing about that much. So it's open, close about that much. So really you're working on that, what Justin was saying was the sweet spot, where the blade is the thickest. You don't want to try to get into the tip and sliding in. And even if you did that... Shut up, Brian. Even if you did that...
Phrasing.
Even if you did that, it's the weakest part. You're going to cut the hair off where you don't want to anyway. So, all right. Now, what I'm going to do is just blend in. We have a little bit left over from this section that we left out long from the shag part of the haircut. So what I'm going to do is just take that little bit. We're going to work. I'm actually going to elevate it up in the air here. And I'm going to work a point cut. And this is where you really feel the puffins cutting well, because they are, they're really meant for that, yeah. I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Turner. That's elevating up. Point cutting in. Just removing that weight right around the face. So there's a ton of texture in this haircut. You can see how it gets longer into the back. That's what probably one of my favorite parts about this cut. And I want to go through and just take a few pieces, and again, just a little bit of tease cutting, because I love the way that it adds the texture into the hair. But not doing too much, because I mean, you obviously don't want to alter the haircut. So this is very light. I'm barely closing the scissor as I cut, just softening some pieces around the face.
Now, Matt, you want to clarify what type of hair to be using this on for those of the audience who may not have been that experienced in this type of cutting? What texture of hair?
You can do this
and
technique
so
on any texture of hair for the most part. I love doing it on curly hair. So I wouldn't even worry about that. It's just more knowing how much hair you actually want to take out is probably the biggest thing there. Now I'm gonna go through and just soften in the fringe area. Thank you for asking. Oh, I didn't know that. So we go through and I'm just softening the edge a little bit. Thanks. I'm going to go through the top here and just point cut into it a little bit more. Take a little bit more from the back. These are just horizontal sections in the back, bringing everything up.
Matt, just so you know, there's a lot of people throwing out a bunch of love right now, saying how much they love these classes and they're learning more tonight than they have in a very long time. And people are saying they love the education because they're connecting with people from all over while learning at the same time.
That's awesome. So you guys can see all of this texture here and how it's a shag. It's got the shag feel to it. But the modern part about it is that it's not flipping out and all that stuff. It's, you know, it's got a lot of movement. The fringe kind of gives it the modern feel, and it's not a big hairdo. So I really love that. I'm going to add a little bit texture here. There's a little bit of cream texture. We've been playing with these products from Bricado, and I'm really loving a lot of different ones. But this one's nice because it's a really creamy feel to the product. But then once you get it in your hands, it kind of stiffens up a little bit. But it doesn't make the. Oh, come on. Come on now.
Phrasing.
I'm pretty sure that was Drea that started laughing first on that one. It wasn't even Brian.
Matt, say hi to Stuart. It's 1 o'clock in the morning there, and he's still staying awake to watch this.
Thanks, Stuart. Christina's not even awake.
Says totally worth it.
I was just kidding. You said that you were getting bored.
John Penta would also like to thank you for taking the time from your family to educate us.
And Pam Berry T wants glitter spray in there.
All
Love the glitter
it's
spray.
Glitter spray or gold spray?
It's the same thing. Well,
If we're using the glitter spray, I'm leaving now. See you guys tomorrow.
take the glitter spray?
I love you.
Spray it on Justin. All right. Can you type? Does anybody have any questions? So we don't have to wait for the response.
I think we've hit on most of the questions.
Everything seems good.
Any last minute questions, guys? People are saying they love it. They're going to do the cut. Great class.
Sorry about that.
Can I have that cut?
Yeah, it's fun. I like it. I had no idea this was going to happen.
Are we using the Bricado glitter spray on this one?
No, Christina stole it.
She just got it for you.
I'm not really going to spray it on her, but I am going to spray it. I can't glitter everything up. Yeah, so I just used the movable hold spray from Bricado to kind of finish it up. It's got a really good smell to it. And I used the Carve texture icing, which was a cool product just to get that texture in there, but it's still nice and light, so it's not like it's a super heavy product. So I hope you guys enjoyed this haircut. Thank you for hanging out the whole time. I don't even know how long we've been on here, but if you guys hung out the whole time, you're awesome. Yeah. So thank you guys for watching. We'll be back here live again next Wednesday night, and make sure you check out Splitting Hairs Wednesday mornings at 9:30. It's our podcast for hairdressers where we just have a good time and we talk about hair subjects and hang out as a group. So if you guys have any questions, post them below in the comments. Make sure you please subscribe to our YouTube channel and share it with all of your friends. We're hoping to keep sharing free salon education all over the place. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.
FreeSalonEducation.com invites you to join us every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for live and interactive classes from your favorite free salon education educators. So grab a mannequin, get set up, and make sure to share your results using the hashtag FreeSalonEducation. FSE Live starts now.